Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I am, as always, Ethan Decker, and today I have Aicila Lewis on the show. How are you?
Hello, Ethan Decker.
It's like I never talk to you more than 10 times a day.
It's just like that, except this time we're being recorded, so we got to be
That's
careful.
Right. For those who do not know, Aicila is my right hand, my consigliere, my head of business affairs at Applied Brand Science. So she's my Susie Meyerson to my Midge Maisel.
I love that one. That's my favorite one.
I do too.
I even have a hat to go with it. So
yeah, the hat works. The hat works for you.
It does.
Who knew that a Greek sailor's hat would actually be your John?
I mean, clearly you did. So.
So, my penetrating consumer insights. So today we are actually recording the 69th episode of Cover Brand. And because it's such a special number, we thought we'd do something special.
That's right.
And
because
of course,
we already passed 42. So
we already passed 42. That's right. And 3.02 times 10 to the 26th, that one's gone as well.
That's such a popular one.
3.14 is gone. 6.02 times 10 to the 26th is gone as well. I think I got that wrong. Avogadro's episode. Today is Austin Powers episode, of course, right? I'll behave. So we're going to try and behave. But as always, before we get into brand stuff and give you a special episode of Cover Brand, we're going to talk cover songs. So what do you got, Aicila?
So one of mine was already taken by another guest. I'm not going to say what it was, Jeff Leitner.
Okay.
But Indigo Girls covering Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, what a great call. What a great call. Well, I'm a big fan of both of those versions. So we have to explain. Indigo Girls, a singer-songwriter pop-ish duo from what, the 90s? Yeah?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Big in Lilith Fair, big with the queer community. Incredible harmonies. I love Amy and Emily's harmonies. And then they're covering, this song is called
Romeo and
Juliet.
Isn't it? That's the name of it.
And it's by the Dire Straits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have to look up what the gap between those two songs. Dire Straits is probably the 70s when that came out.
Yeah. Well, and when I first heard it, I didn't know it was a cover.
Oh,
so
right.
I just heard the Indigo Girls singing it, and the yearning that they put into the straight boy angst is like, if it really works.
Yeah.
It really works.
So, yes, for those who don't know the song, the Dire Straits tune is a beautiful Dire Straits song. And, of course, Mark Knopfler is incredible on the lead guitar. But it's this beautiful story. It's a Romeo and Juliet story. And that was I looked it up here, it's 1980. So when that came out. And then the Indigo Girls covered it on their 1992 album. And that's one of the rare songs where they didn't actually harmonize.
No.
Amy sang it solo with her guitar and just squeezed every last goddamn ounce of angst out of that song.
She really did.
It's a great, you're right. It's a killer cover.
I see you through the bars of this song. Like, what?
I know. So good.
It's very lyrical. And she took those lyrics and she owned them.
She owned
beautiful.
them. That's right. She ripped them right out of Mark Knopfler's callus-ridden hands.
Callus-ridden vocal cords.
Yeah, those two. Well, Mark's pretty mellow the way he sings.
Yeah.
Amy, I'm sure Amy's got the callus-ridden vocal cords. Great cover. And I know someone, I'm looking at them right now, who will put that on our Cover Brand cover song playlist on Spotify.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, so excited. That's been so great. It's so fun to see people be able to listen to all the cover songs we've covered on Cover Brand. Wow, I got that out pretty well. Thank you, and then we'll be right back to talk more brand stuff right after these messages. Cover Brand is fueled by Brand Equity Gummies, daily chewables for your long-term health. Each gummy contains 3 times your recommended dose of distinctiveness, familiarity, and mild panic about your Q4 results. And it tastes like strawberry future cash flow. Brand Equity Gummies. Choose your future. And we're back with Aicila Lewis. So excited to have this conversation on this very special 69th episode of Cover Brand.
I think all the podcasts do a 69th episode because it's such an appreciated number. It's numerically very significant.
So from now on, we're just going to name them all 69A, 69B, 69C?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Or should they be colors? 69 orange, 69 purple?
No, I think it's maybe 69 the first, 69 the second.
Oh, okay.
Just like the way sometimes you do birthdays.
Oh,
like
right.
I'm celebrating the 14th anniversary of my 29th birthday kind of thing.
Or firstborn sons.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Cover Brand 69 the first.
There we go.
And my child, Cover Brand 69 the second. But today, it would be really fabulous to talk about some of the themes we've heard over these past 67, I think, conversations we've had, many of which were callers, as we call them, where the folks call in with their business problems and business challenges and marketing questions, and we answer them and help them and give them some guidance. And then some of them, maybe 10%, were what we call shop talk, where other marketing experts dial in and we have kind of a peer-to-peer, mechanic-to-mechanic conversation about marketing and advertising and branding, but then we bring a little brand lens or science lens to that and show what the brand science has to say about some of the things we see in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know, so I really wanted Ethan to do a podcast. I love podcasts. Everybody who knows me knows.
You're telling the story, the backstory of the show first.
The backstory.
Okay.
Because I think it's important for people to get to know you a little bit. In that, Ethan loves to help people. And he's a little like, I have a podcast, and I'll be honest that like a number of people that listen to my podcast, I met in the line at the grocery store, and I got home and I saw that I had 100 downloads. I talk about it with everybody because there's something about it that I love. Don't ask me what it is. It's getting the word out. It's connecting. I just love the opportunity to be out there in that way and to share and platform the people that I engage with and the things that I'm learning. And Ethan's very relational, but he's not a bragger. So I feel like sometimes he doesn't tell anyone that he has a podcast because he doesn't.
I've gotten better.
He doesn't want to be too forward, right?
Yeah.
And initially when we talked about it, he was really hesitant because he's like, well, what am I gonna do that's worth people listening to, right?
Well, there was that. And then there was also, does the world need another middle-aged white marketing guy talking to CMOs about CMO crap? Right. And there's so many others out there that do it better. I love, for instance, Uncensored CMO by John Evans. I love that show. And he's got some of the world's biggest and most successful CMOs on the show. I don't have that level of access and platform. He's got a great show. Why should I interview the CMO of Unilever again just after he did? Or even the CMO of Tony's Chocolate Only, which he did, of course, which
I know you would love to. Anyway. So basically, if you know the CMO of Tony's Chocolate Only, send him our way. It'll make Ethan's day.
Yes, please.
And that's valid. It's one of the things I love about you, is that you're very thoughtful in that way. And also, because I'm a huge fan of what you're up to and I talk about it with people, I constantly see the ways that folks react to the information that you share. They feel so much more comfortable and confident that it usually causes a big relief. Like, oh, I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to worry about what people think of me because they're not thinking of me.
Well, there is that.
All of those things. And so for me, not only do I love podcasts, but I'm such a huge fan of what you're doing. And partially because I see the impact. And I wanted it to be more available to people when you can talk to them or they can afford to hire you. And so to that end, when we talk about the themes, I really feel like the diversity of people. You've talked to small entrepreneurs that have a product that hasn't even launched. You've talked to people that are doing really big things from big companies and everything in between. And there's always some ability to really connect and see how they can think about what they're doing in a way that helps them to feel more confident and I think a little more relaxed. And you learn from them. It's always obvious that you take something away. So it's to me, it's kind of one of the main things I love about podcasts is the way it gives access and connection to people over a variety of opportunities. Yeah.
You pushed and pushed. You're like, you need a podcast. You need a podcast. So for me, the big the big breakthrough was figuring out the format that
Yeah.
felt right. And again, also in the world of, honestly, in the world of equity and social justice and just representation, I really was thinking the world doesn't need another middle-aged white guy doing an interview show with CMOs. There are lots of those.
Yeah.
But what we ended up figuring out was this basically car talk for brands, where people call in with a problem, and you're right, any size company, and anyone from any walk of life, anyone from any part of the world. We've had callers from outside of the U.S., and then they present a little bit of their problem, their challenge, their situation, their question, what they struggle with their company, be it advertising or branding or marketing or finding their customer or connecting with their customer or having the stomach to do the work that they have to do, any of those things. And then I offer them a little bit of advice, like click and clack, diagnosing what's wrong with your 2008 Toyota Tacoma that's leaking some kind of liquid on the driveway.
Yep.
And then I give them a piece of advice, and you're right. That's been a real wonderful thing to see. And you're right. I am a helper. I love it. One of my favorite moments is at the end of the show. If we've had a good connection, if I've been able to be helpful, people go, wow, oh, this is so great. Thank you so much. This is so helpful. And that is, of course it's affirming that, oh my God, I know something, but also most importantly, it's great to be able to actually help someone with all the brand science and brand knowledge that I've accrued over the years.
Yeah. I mean, you put some time in to get the information. So
I've studied the topic. I've done the work. Yep. I have some scars to prove it. Yeah. So the show format has been really fun. People call in. We of course talk about cover songs because it is Cover Brand, and even the cover for the show is a cover of a cover. And then we get, and that's been fun as well, because that has inadvertently become a really good icebreaker, because I'm asking people to share sometimes dicey parts of their life, which are the challenges they're having with the companies that they either grow or dream of, or they are the company, they are the brand. And recently I was thinking, well, should we put the cover song crap later? Because it's just kind of fluff and people really want to just get to the business side. But I think the cover songs are, first of all, just freaking entertaining and fun. And I love geeking out. But second, it really does create some rapport so that when people bare their business soul, we have a little bit of trust and a little bit of connection, and they have a sense that I'm not going to beat up on them.
Yeah. I think that's and it's fun. It is really, and it's something to connect to early on in the episode when you're listening.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk about themes, and I sandbagged you by talking a little bit about how we got here.
Okay.
But I think themes are a good one. So what do you think comes up the most with your call-in guests? Do you have any themes that you feel like you've seen on repeat?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of them, and then I'll have a little funny reflection. One of the themes that comes up a lot is this notion that people just aren't thinking about you. You even mentioned it. Eleanor Roosevelt supposedly said, darling, you'd worry a lot less what people think about you when you realize how little they think of you at all. Now, that may or may not be Eleanor Roosevelt's quote. It might be Abe Lincoln. It might be Homer. Who knows? But the sentiment is very, very true in marketing, that as a marketer, we think about our company or our brand all the time. As consumers, we don't think about brands hardly at all. I do this thing over and over where I travel the world and I do trainings, and I invariably ask people 10 factual objective questions about their toilet paper. And invariably they know maybe one of the answers, which is which brand is it? But they don't know what color is the package, what logo is it really, how much does a normal pack cost, what's their latest ad campaign, are they busy on social media, who's on their board of directors, are there women on the C-suite, et cetera, right? Where is it even manufactured? Nobody knows where their toilet paper is manufactured.
Right.
And so first of all, objectively, we don't know crap. about these brands. Ha ha ha. And I know it writes itself when you do a thing on toilet paper, but also we don't want to know more.
Yeah.
I've never talked to a senior executive who's like, I spend time researching my liquid Drano. I spend time learning more about the tires on my car. Even for a $50,000 vehicle, I open the hood and I get out YouTube and I try and figure out what am I looking at under the hood of the car. Nobody wants to know more about their products or their brands, or I should say extremely rarely.
Or
so
just one place. Like sometimes you get really fixated on having the best CPU or whatever, but you probably don't apply that to very many other things in your life.
Right. There's one brand or one place, or you're really into whiskey, or you're really into handbags or something, Comic-Con or cosplay. But when callers call and they're so obsessed with their brand or their product and they're thinking about it all the time, and I remind them that nobody thinks about it as much as them, and that nobody really wants to know the details, there's often that big, whoa, you mean I can just do stuff and no one's going to notice that my Pantone colors don't match? I can just try stuff and 80% of the people won't even have seen it? Now, that's a little sad, but it also gives you the freedom to say, oh, I see my first big problem. People have to think of me at all.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge theme that keeps coming up, and certainly on the show and certainly beyond the show when I do my trainings and I do my corporate work. Yeah, that's a good one. And I know we have a mutual friend whom you introduced me to, Peggy MacArthur, the headshot strategist, who is a caller. And this was a big revelation for her because she was so obsessed with what she was communicating, so obsessed with tweaking her website, so obsessed with, the look or the colors. And I just had to remind her that your bigger issue by a factor of 10, if not 100, is that nobody even knows you exist.
Yeah.
Or when they think about headshots, you don't come to mind at all.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge, huge, huge theme. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Another one, which comes up a fair bit, is when people are trying to figure out their company. These are, early stage people.
I noticed that one.
Entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and I'm in the same boat. I've been figuring out applied brand science for the past 7 years with your help.
Congratulations.
I know, hitting me with the plunger. And one of the big themes that comes up when people are trying to figure things out and they're just at the beginning, they're at the toddler phase of their company, is I tell them this trick, which is there are a certain number of business models in the world. Right? Like you can be a software as a service and a web platform and people subscribe to you for $20 a month, like an email service. You can be someone who sells their time, like a therapist. You can be someone who makes widgets and sells them on Amazon, right? There are certain business models, and these are pretty well-established paths. So instead of trying to just flail around and reinvent the wheel, find out who's on that path already and a little ahead of you, or someone you wish you were like, and copy their playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that is also an incredibly helpful revelation for people to be like, oh, I don't have to invent everything. I just have to find my role model and copy that person.
When I think that points to something that I've seen where it and you talk about this as well, which is there's a real tension that brands have to find and entrepreneurs have to find between being distinctive and being recognizable.
Yeah.
And I think that discernment process is a little it's a little tricky, especially when you're starting out, because you know what everybody's doing and what supposedly works, the playbook. And then you're also know you're doing something that's a little different, and where do those two intersect, and how do you discern where it matters that you keep doing your own thing,
right,
and where it doesn't matter and you can just go along, or where it even matters more that you be recognizable. Like I know me, I have weird names. I love weird names, but people don't know what they have to say operations, right? Or strategy, even if I'm doing it differently because otherwise people have no idea how to find me or what I'm up to.
No. And then everyone always stumbles even over your first name, Aicila. It's very distinctive. It's very distinctive. You're right. That I call that the brand category paradox.
Mm-hmm.
You got to fit into the category. You got to be like, I'm a video camera. But then you got to stand out in a way. I'm a video camera that professionals use when they're working underwater. Mm-hmm. Or, right, I'm an executive coach. But I'm an executive coach that focuses on women who are mid-career and struggling with, still dealing with a sexist man's world. Mm-hmm. Right? The brand category paradox absolutely is a thing that keeps coming up over and over. And then a lesson beyond that seems to be really helpful to a lot of people is the notion that some of your difference doesn't have to be a deep brand story, a deep service offering distinction. It doesn't almost have to mean anything.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite examples of that is Geico. Right? The gecko is very distinctive. It's even got a Cockney accent. So even if you're in a different room of the house and you hear that Cockney gecko talking, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever wondered what will happen if you bundled auto and car insurance? Like, that's the worst accent ever. But when you hear it, you instantly know it's not Allstate, it's not State Farm, it's not all the state ad campaigns for state insurance brands. Right? Think about it. Allstate, State Farm, and Farmers. That is in itself so damn confusing, and they're doing the best they can to be unconfusing. But Geico, the gecko, has nothing to do with the product or service. Zero. In fact, nobody knows, and again, I quiz people all around the world on this. Well, this is an American company, but nobody knows the differences of the services between Progressive, Allstate, Geico, and State Farm. Nobody can tell me who covers hail damage best, or who's got the best roadside assistance, or, who covers boats and RVs. Like, we don't know shit about the products or service differences or the brand story. Nobody gives a shit about Geico's brand story.
Right.
But that gecko is so distinctive. And then they have to deliver on the category basics. We cover home, we cover auto, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's a big revelation for a lot of guests is, oh my God, you mean I can be different just by having a different look or a different logo or a different mascot? There's one friend of mine who invented a mascot for her HR consulting company. And it's a huge breakthrough for her to realize, oh, I just needed something cute that they'd remember me by, and it's a pig. It's a pig. The mascot's a pig. Yeah. So, that's another big realization for sure.
Well, and I think it plays together too. Like, that's why, I feel like that awareness that when you're starting your company, you could follow a playbook and you don't have to invent everything.
Yep.
And you still do want to know, you want to start I don't think you know at first, especially when people are trying to bring something that they've discovered into the world. I think it's different when you have a widget. I'm not sure. But when you have a new way of a framework or way of thinking about things, understanding how to appropriately position it as recognizable and distinct.
Correct.
Because I think what happens is when you've got something new, you think you have to make everything up. Right. And that can be that's overwhelming. I think it's why people get discouraged.
It is. To your point about recognizable and distinct, I think for me, the brand category paradox is like, how do you fit into the category and tell people are you toilet paper or are you parchment paper, right? Mm-hmm. People need to know, do I bake with you or wipe my ass with you? So, but
very
then
important.
It's very, that's a big, don't confuse those. Your souffle will not turn out how you want it to be. But after understanding the category, then you do want to stand out in a way. But as you're saying, there's also this thing of you want to stand out, but you want people to recognize you over and over. So the consistency piece is also a great lesson that comes up again and again on the show, which is we get bored of our own marketing stuff long before anyone else has even heard of it. We think we need to refresh things often a lot more than it ever has to be refreshed because, again, 99% of our future customers have never even heard of us. I use applied brand science a lot as a reference point because I am dogged about the orange and white. And, you know, the logo, the Frelk and the Science AF tagline. And that consistency is so important so that when people do think, oh, I need toilet paper, they can go, oh, right, I get the one with the bears. They don't even remember what brand.
No.
Or if they remember it's Charmin, then they don't remember which one. Or they're like, I get the blue one. So you have to be consistent. Starbucks, super consistent. Coca-Cola, super consistent. So when people give me shit for always rolling up to a business event in my bright orange and white track jacket, which they do, they're like, oh, you're wearing the orange again. I do have a couple new lines. I was like, yeah, Coca-Cola still drives their soda around in red and white trucks. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
And then they go, oh, yeah, good point, good point. And then I also say, and by the way, if your brand guy isn't on brand, you probably have the wrong brand guy.
Yes.
And that they go, touche, and then we laugh, and then we eat some chocolate. But yeah, the consistency is another big one. Like, be noticeable, be recognizable, show up over and over and over in the very same consistent way. And you and I have done that with Applied Brand Science to make all of the social media stuff that we do, like very orange and white, the same font every single time. Now for like our carousels on social media or LinkedIn and places, it's all the same exact thing. We've pushed out probably 100 of those. Other people might, running a company would get bored of their own stuff.
Yep.
And we know that we have to be doggedly consistent so that we're recognizable and people go, oh, right. Oh, yeah, there's Ethan's stuff. Oh, there's Applied Brand Science.
Yep. Yeah, especially in all the noise.
Yeah.
So was there a question or a topic or a theme that surprised you? That like you were like, oh, either this person, I didn't think this person would go here, or I didn't think this would ever come up on the show.
Well, oh man, I have to get through the Wayback Machine. 68 episodes. I mean, I wonder how people do it who've done 400 or 500 episodes.
They probably make
crazy.
stuff up.
But things that surprised me. I think one thing that surprised me is that a lot of seasoned marketers are still unfamiliar with these basic concepts. That surprised me. So it wasn't a specific question necessarily, but that some of these lessons that to me as a brand scientist seem so now obvious because I studied them, I've looked at the research, I've learned about them, and now I teach them. I'm so familiar with them, but so many people, even veteran marketers, are still very unfamiliar with some very basic things. Like all the stuff we've just talked about.
Yeah.
You know, loyalty is a great example, right? There's still the fantasy that we're going to create loyalty like Harley Davidson or Warby Parker or Apple. And I like to remind people that even Harley Davidson doesn't have Harley Davidson's mythical level of Harley Davidson loyalty. Most people that buy a Harley buy one. And in fact, they also own a Honda or a BMW. Yeah. Yeah.
I think about this stuff a lot. And
were there questions that surprised you on the show?
No,
And I do have a thought, but
okay, do your thought.
Okay, while you're still thinking, one thing that I've realized that was a little bit of a surprise was to get to the point with a caller, a guest, where it's clear that the challenge is not knowing what to do. It's clear that the challenge is they're not ready to let go of the stuff that they like to do or know how to do. And I know this intimately because this is my own career trajectory, is we get really good at A, and then you hit a plateau. And to get to the next level, you have to stop doing A and start doing F or M or Q, right? And you have to let go of the stuff that you used to be good at. So that's a very personal, emotional thing.
Yeah.
And so here we are in a business podcast talking about brand science. And yet, of course, as always, business is emotional, business is psychology. And so we get to some really sometimes tender places where people realize that the hard work is not knowing what to do. The hard work is kind of retraining all your habits and letting go of the stuff that is familiar or fun, and doing the stuff that's just less familiar or less natural or less fun to get to where they really want to go.
Yeah. If you want to go somewhere new without doing anything new, probably not gonna get there. And that's hard. It's really hard to realize that's happening and then to choose differently. Something you talk about, and we can edit this out if you don't like it, but I feel like you talk about things like nobody knows a brand story, but I also know that that creative stuff, brand stories, like bringing in some of these non-quantifiable pieces do have a value that is, as noted, not quantifiable. We can't expect the customer to know it. But what does that do for the company? Because I've read enough over the years of working with you that it's clear that there is something else happening when people are committed to those things.
Yeah.
Internally, there's something that shows up. And so how do you acknowledge its value in that context while also acknowledging that there needs to be some awareness if it's not, your customers aren't going to know it.
Yeah. Okay. I have three ways I think I've learned how to understand brand story or brand purpose, which again, most people don't know if Michelin Tires has a brand purpose or not, or Veuve Clicquot has a brand purpose, and no one gives a shit that, their canned beans has a brand purpose or not. But here are the three ways I think brand story, brand purpose, that deeper stuff can show up and help. One is, as you said, internally with the company staff, with the employees. They have a deeper sense of purpose, of meaning, of mission, and they understand the history and the origins of the company. And so they show up more and are more connected and are more invested and do better work. So I'm all for that when it's internal. Absolutely. I think there's a real good use for that. It's just we fantasize that people outside of Starbucks are going to give a shit about the brand story of Starbucks. And you can find it online. But again, 99.999% of people have no clue what that logo actually is or where the word Starbucks came from. It has something to do with Moby Dick and maritime trade. And you could look it up. But nonetheless, so that's the first, internal. The second one, that makes sense, right? As well, internal. Okay, so the second one is, I said 99.9% of people will not give a damn what the stuff is, what the brand story is. There is 0.1% who do. And it's nice to have that for them because sometimes they're the ones that talk about the category the most because they're invested in in coffee enough to go learn the brand stories of all these different brands. And then they become the maven in their friend group about coffee. So if anyone has questions about what kind of espresso machine to buy their husband for Christmas, they go to the maven, and the maven has all the info and the brand stories. So there is a 1% or 0.1% who want to go down that rabbit hole. So leave some rabbit holes for them. Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a brand story. I have a backstory of the Frelk.
I was going to say, you may or may not have somewhere on your website if people chose to look.
Oh, yeah. That's a rabbit hole that they have to find. Yes. So that's the other thing. Yeah, leave it for the 1%, but assume it's just a 0.1%. And assume that 99% will never care about your brand story. The third way, I think it actually does help to have some of these cultural story elements to your brand and to your team and to your company, is that my metaphor is by if you're in a boat, if you navigate towards the Northern Star, you're never going to land on the Northern Star, but you'll get to where you want to go. So if you act like people care about your brand story and that you have a rich history and heritage, let's say you're Johnny Walker. Well, let's go back to Starbucks. Starbucks, they act like it. That might squeeze out in subtle ways that people just sense and intuit and feel, but they'll never actually understand or get to know an actual brand story. But it will result in the same thing, which is you're going to be easy to recognize. You're going to be a little entertaining. You're going to be easy to remember. You're going to be preferred.
Yeah.
And those are all the things. And you're going to get a lot of light customers who buy 1 or 2 coffees a year, literally, from Starbucks. So by doing the brand story stuff and having that rich soul and the history and having those activations or those little, Easter eggs, a lot of people won't notice consciously, but it might seep into the work in a great way that builds a brand that everyone just kind of feels good about.
Yeah, I'm wondering, hearing that, like, I feel like even, culture of the small culture that we have, there's certain things that we agree on or that I'm aware of are important. And therefore,
you mean the culture of our 3 people or 4 people in the company?
Applied brand science, yes.
Yes.
But I feel like it does provide a certain cohesion in terms of, I have a compass of how to make decisions or how to think about and present things that I know fits kind of your style. And I think that does, as you scale, also matter, because there's a feeling of it not being like frenetic or discordant when you've got something that unifies the ways that people think about things when they're in that space.
That's true. That's true. It's kind of like, going back to that first point, it's really useful internally. Yeah. It's, you want everyone rowing in the same direction and in unison.
Yeah.
Right. You need that. Is it a coxswain? The person in the boat who screams, row, row.
I have absolutely no idea, but I'll say yes.
Okay. It's all these beefy rowers with their huge shoulders and lats. And then you got this puny person. That was me. I would have been that puny person in the bow of the boat, looking at them all. No, the stern of the boat, but looking forward, saying, go, go. So they're like the jockey on a crew boat. But nonetheless, you want everyone moving in unison and rowing in the same direction, because otherwise companies just are all over the frickin' map. And you can tell when companies are like that. You know who's like that right now is Facebook.
Yeah.
I know people on the inside, and they're like, it's kind of a shit show. Everyone kind of does whatever they want. That whole move fast, break things mantra is still true, and they're all over the map. And then you look at another company. What's a company that's got their shit together? Well, Tony's Chocolate Only, our favorite chocolate here at Applied Brand Science, and our sole exclusive provider of Applied Brand chocolate. Tony's, they're all rowing in unison. They're a tight crew. They know a mission. They have a deep brand story. They scream it. This is funny too, Aicila. You know this fact. They put it all over their packaging, all over their comms, all over their marketing. And yet they know, even the head chocolatier knows, that only 8 or 9% of their buyers have any clue that they're a cause company.
Yeah. Because
and
they
they're
make
okay
the
with
chocolate.
that.
Yeah.
Because it's tasty chocolate. That's right. It's delicious chocolate. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I have 2 bars right here. They're not custom to ours, but yeah, of course. So they just look like Willy Wonka. They're fun. They're really, really delicious. And so if 92% of the people buy it without even knowing they have a cause. But Tony's has a clear focus. They have a clear drum beat. They're all rowing in unison. Right. So that internal stuff really helps the company stay focused and therefore win at a few things instead of lose at a scattered lot of things.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I love this line of questioning, so I'm going to keep it up.
Okay. This is going to be a long episode.
All right,
it's your fault.
It's my
It's supposed to be short enough for a commute, but now it's got to be a long-ass commute.
We'll do one more question, then we'll be done. We'll have to do another one of these because one of the things that you talk about a lot is how people shouldn't go for brand loyalty. Like, oh, you don't want the brand loyalty guy. But to a certain extent, I think that's not the whole story. Right. And I think the thing you're talking about, Tony's, is a good example of it. It's not that you're never going to be upset that somebody is passionately out there talking about how awesome your company is. Right. We love that. What you don't want to do is chase that as a financial marketing outcome. You want to
Yes.
understand that
Yes.
it's not something that is actually going to make you any money or
Yep.
bring you in customers, because
Yep.
loyalty is usually very limited. But having like passionate, loyal super fans who are out there talking about how awesome you are, of course, that's a great thing. We love that.
Yeah. 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 I hate the word loyalty because
Yeah, I
it's
know.
just
That's why I
like,
brought it up, because
is
I
it
feel like it
behavior?
sends
Oh
sometimes the
yeah.
wrong message. Like it's
Oh
not
yeah.
that you're
Yeah. Yeah.
against it, but you're against it.
Well, and first of all, I'm against the word because it really confuses feelings and behaviors. Like that's the easiest way to say it. Like you could love, and this is brand love instead of loyalty, or you could say you're loyal to Tiffany, but all you own is a single charm bracelet. So what use is that loyalty to the company? You've never bought another thing. Or, you're loyal to Apple because you've always bought iPhones, but you've never bought an Apple HomePod. You've never used Apple TV. You don't use Apple AirPods. You get Bose. And so, sure, yeah, you always get an Apple iPhone, but you've never gotten any of their peripherals or accessories. So I bristle at the loyalty term itself because it's just confusing. On the other hand, you could always buy my favorite my favorite stainless steel cleaner, which is a barkeeper's friend.
Okay.
It crushes. It cleans any stainless steel you need. It gets rust off all your rusty stuff. It's great. Stainless steel pots, barkeeper's friend. Get it. It's got some special acid in there. Use gloves. But I would never say I love it, but that's the only one I buy, and I buy it all the time. So you can also be a regular, habitual buyer and have no feelings of loyalty or feelings of love. But this is, I think, to your point. I was just doing my screed about the word loyalty, but to your point about, I think, let's call it love, brand love. It is great to have brand lovers. But as our mutual friend and one-time caller, Jeff Leitner, says, love is great, but it ain't where the money's at. And it's better to have lots of friends because you can only really have one lover or it becomes really complicated. I mean, I've never had an open relationship or a throuple. But
Listen to Cover
what
Brand
I've
for all
heard,
the insights on episode 69.
I know, episode 60. Yes, indeed. And now we're back on track. Episode 69, thruples and open relationships and other fun. From what I've heard, they are as complicated and exhausting, and often more complicated and exhausting than trying to just have a basic, simple, monogamous relationship. Whether it's gay or straight, doesn't matter. But like, right? It's complicated. So the metaphor is great for marketing. Like, yeah, you can have a couple lovers and they're great, but that's not, think of how many friends you can have. You can have a huge party with all your friends. You can have friends in different countries, friends in different cities you go stay with sometimes. Old friends that you call up out of the blue and they're like, oh my God, it's so good to hear from you. And you pick it up just like it was from the past. Or like casual friends you see all the time because they're really just neighbors, but they're friends, but they're mostly neighbors. You can have oodles of friends. And usually you can only really have 1, 2 lovers. It's a great metaphor for brands as well. So yeah, lovers are fine. But that's not where the volume's at. And brand friends are much better to have than brand lovers. I would posit Tony's has lots of brand friends. Geico has a lot more brand friends than lovers, and they're crushing it. Starbucks, lots and lots of brand friends. Might have a few more brand lovers than most, but also it's just enormous. So they just have more people who are going there all the time.
Well, like you said, Tony's puts their purpose everywhere, but they don't expect people to be into it. And their goal of getting child labor out of chocolate, they recognize that it's a huge lift. And so they're saying we're going to do what we can to educate and to make the change through our efforts. But they're not asking anybody really to get on board. Yeah. They're just doing the numbers and making the good chocolate. So
yeah, and we do that with Applied Brand Science. You and I, we have sent out lots of holiday gifts over the years for Fibonacci Day, which is November 23, of course. We have sent out lots of thank you stuff and merch. We have Frelk t-shirts and Science AF stuff. And you and I both know that 80% of those folks will be like, huh, okay, fun, nice, cute. And they're kind of friends or acquaintances. A couple of them are like, oh my God, I love this. This is the only coffee mug I ever drink out of. Or, oh my God, I love you and I would hire you all the time to help if you were more full service. But we continue to do that to generate the love when we can. Because it's great to have, you're right, it's great to have people fawn over your brand. But also knowing and feeling the freedom to accept that most people will be brand friends of Applied Brand Science, which is great.
Who doesn't want a bunch of brand friends? It's fantastic. Well, and it's fun. Well, I definitely want to do this again because I have lots of questions after listening to all of your episodes where I'm like, do you really mean this?
Well, when we hit Cover Brand 69, the 69th.
Okay.
Then, because now all of them are 69, the first, 69, the second,
Right, yep.
right? Then we can reprise the question and answer about the themes and the things we've heard over the course of the last, I don't know, year? At least year and a half of doing Cover Brand.
In the middle of the second year.
I have to thank you from the bottom of my parchment paper for bugging me and needling me and prodding me to do a goddamn podcast. Please, Ethan, please. And then for sitting around and waiting for me to finally figure out what format would work and I would like and that other people would like and that would be helpful and useful for the world.
Oh, you're welcome. And for publishing it before you knew I was going to.
Oh,
that was the best day ever.
Yeah. Ready, fire, aim. I was like, okay, we have 3 in the can. What's our next step? And you're like, oh, no, they're already scheduled to go out. I was like, what? What? No, we have to review. We have to talk about. Nope, they're already scheduled. It's already done.
Yep.
You just look at the show notes and make some edits if you want. Yes. Yeah. So first, thank you for the noodling.
You're very welcome.
And then second, thank you for all the work. For those of you who have enjoyed the show, I would say 98% of the credit really does go to Aicila because she is the behind the scenes maestro and genius. The music, the imagery, the videos, the editing, the publishing, the scheduling, all of it. It's Aicila. So there's no way in hell I would do it without you. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I love it. And I love what you're up to. So tune in, guys.
Hopefully we can talk again in another year and we'll find out how things are going on Cover Brand.
I love it.
All right.
All right.
Great. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to learn more about brand science, head on over to appliedbrandscience.com. Also, if you got something out of this episode, think of one person who might also get something out of it and send it to them as a way of saying, hey, thinking of you.